Somebody asked me my settings on how to make the Zoom F8s into a multi-track by syncing the timecode and syncing the clocks. So I'm making this quick video to show how that works. Alright, so the first step is going to be to connect the timecode output of whatever machine needs to be the master to the timecode in of the one that you're syncing to it. So in this case, I'm going to make the top machine my master and the bottom is going to be my slave. If you're working with a mix pre, I would take the mix pre's timecode out and connect it to the timecode in of the F8. So I'm going to do that here. Sorry, I'm working backwards. So. With a BNC 75 ohm cable. So the next step is going to be to set the timecode input on the bottom machine to look to the top machine for its source. So hopefully you can see on the screen here, it says internal 23976. Top machine is going to remain on its own internal clock and reference. So we're going to press the menu button. We're going to scroll down to timecode. See if I can do this here. Again, I'm working backwards. So now we're going to go to timecode again, press mode. Currently I'm in internal RTC run. I'm going to change that. Go to mode and switch it over to external. Then once I've done that, I'm going to come out one step by pressing the menu button, and I want to make sure that my external audio clock sync is on, and I keep external continuous on as well in case something happens. So mode should be EXT, external clock source should be on, external continuous should be on, menu, until you get back to the top. And now you can see, hopefully, it says EXT, not INT. Sorry, it's hard to get this camera to focus that way, but so now as long as that one's on EXT, it's chasing the other one. Oftentimes after I've done the sync, so after I've set the time code on the slave machine, I'll actually reboot it just to make sure that its clock picks up exactly where the other one left off. At one point I had an issue with a timestamp being wrong, and I suspected that was the problem, was the fact that I had I just done the sync and left it. So after that, every time I simply reboot the slave machine after I've done the setting for chasing the external sync. When it's time to record, I don't sync the transports. I just feel it's kind of dangerous. So I would just press the record buttons at basically the same time and holding the little handles here. I would just press them at the same time, let them roll. It's not critical that you make it exact because the frame, it'll only start recording on the frame anyway. But even if you're close, the timestamps will line it up in post later. Once I've dragged all the files from one machine in, I'll typically do a batch rename. This will enable me to easily tell one machine's files from the other. So we'll do a batch rename. I'm going to put a prefix on this for A because it's the A machine. Then I'll drag in the B machine files. And I'll do the same there. I'll name these quick batch rename. Again, sometimes it can get confusing as to which machine's files are which, so I like to delineate that. I create all the tracks in order as I need them. So in this case, I had 3 stereo tracks. On the first Zoom, I had a quad track for ambisonics and a stereo track on the second machine. I'm going to be in spot mode. So a couple things I'm going to set up. Spot mode is where I want to be. I'm going to go to my session setup window. I know I did this recording starting somewhere around 12 o'clock, so I'm going to set my session start to 12. And make sure that my timecode rate is matching what I recorded at. And then let's just drag one take at random and take 3 out of both machines just to show you. So being in spot mode, I can drop it anywhere. And then I'm going to go for the original timestamp here. And so I'll find B machines take 3. I'll usually increment the files manually as the recording is going when the opportunity presents itself, for the simple fact that if you allow it to do an automatic file break on the B machine, it loses 2 samples as it waits for the next frame edge to come in. So I do them both manually at the same time, and then I don't have to worry about any kind of, loss in sync of 2 samples after the fact. So once I know where my clips are going to start, let's do take 1 and see where that starts. Oh, it starts before my time. All right, let's use take 2 instead. Once I know where my start time actually is, I can then go back to session setup and set it for whatever time that is, so I don't have all this empty space at the beginning. And that's all there is to it. So just, again, going through the steps, connect timecode out from one machine to timecode in. On the other, go to the timecode menu, change your mode to external, make sure that your external clock sync is on and your external continuous is on. Make sure the frame rates are matching and that they're ticking together. I would reboot the slave machine just to make sure that it's actually following the timecode. Make sure your sample rates are the same. And again, I manually press the record buttons and increment the takes as it goes. Once you get the recording home, just drag the files into the clips list in Pro Tools. Set up your tracks as you need them. Go to spot mode and then just drag them right in and go by the original timestamp. And that's all there is to it.